Hi, everybody. This is David Nevins for City Biz, and thank you so much for joining us today. And today, our guest is David Franklin, and he is President and CEO of Alzheimer's Community Care. David, thank you, and welcome to our program.
Oh, it's my privilege and honor to be here.
Well, I think that so many of us who are watching, and sadly, so many of us around the country, we almost all have had some exposure of late to family members or friends who have developed Alzheimer's and the real challenge of that disease and caring for those folks who have it. And that's what your organization does. So, David, if you don't mind, let's just begin. Tell us, what is Alzheimer's Community Care, and how do you go about your important work?
Well, thank you again for having me. Alzheimer's Community Care, we at our base are a specialized adult daycare center. So there is a situation where someone has a loved one, a spouse, a parent, aunt or uncle that they are caring for, and we exist to try to come alongside them and help the caregivers with that care. We provide a daycare services where they could drop them off Monday through Friday for all day if they need to go to work, or maybe to go run a couple errands, or just for some respite, for a break. And then we have 7 key services. We also provide everything from ID locators so that people can't get lost, to we do provide lost on foot services. We have a 24/7 call line. We have family navigators that every family gets assigned to. We have case management workers to work with families as well. So we also provide education, not just for caregivers, but for the community as a whole. We work with law enforcement, hospitals, schools, nursing schools. And so we want to provide that holistic care to kind of help the community to come alongside this problem that's not going anywhere. As you know, we have this massive generation of baby boomers that is right in that demographic that is going to be dealing with these issues coming soon. And we don't just work with Alzheimer's patients; we work with related dementias as well. Patients with Parkinson's, even Down syndrome, different Lewy body disease, different ways that dementia might present itself.
Right. And I know that your organization, you didn't mention it, was also responsible for the development and creation, I think, of what we all know around the country as the Silver Alert. When an elderly person is maybe missing on the highway in their car, and the notice goes out for a Silver Alert.
We did help write that legislation, and that's another piece of what we do. We provide advocacy. We go to the state government here in Florida each and every year, but it's also something that we've looked into on a national level. How do we continue to advocate for this incredible need that's only growing?
Yeah. So I'm quite impressed, David. In a relatively short period of time, you've learned an awful lot about the organization, ACC, or Alzheimer's Community Care. Tell us a little bit about how you arrived on the scene as the relatively new president and CEO, and share with us a little bit about your personal background, if you would, David.
Okay. Well, I've had several family members that have walked this journey. But in this role, I've learned a lot of the things that I thought I knew, but really didn't know as well. And that's why the education piece is so important in what we do. But the first Alzheimer's Community Care's first ever day center was located in Boca Raton at Advent Church. And I served as a pastor at Advent Church for a little over 11 years. And so I was very familiar with the organization. And as ACC was looking for a new president, I knew the interim president, and I knew how desperately he was to become an amateur professional golfer, and no longer a working man like you and me. And so we had a series of conversations. I met with the board and some board members and learned even more about the organization. I'm just so impressed. We have such an amazing staff and a team here. just dedicated folks that love what they do and are passionate about it, and frankly, they're great at it. I think we do currently have 11 of the 45 day centers in the state of Florida that are specialized in their licensing, and I think we're the best at what we do.
Well, you gave me the pleasure and honor a few weeks ago of joining you for a tour of several of your centers and how impressive that was. And of course, you talked about your staff and their dedication. Maybe take a minute. I was blown away by what I saw. Maybe take a minute and share with our audience, maybe what a typical day at a day center looks like. Because these are folks with Alzheimer's, all not your staff, obviously, but the patients who were there, and they were, for anyone who thinks that it's a sentence in which your life is over and that's the end of things. I would claim otherwise. I was so impressed with how they engaged with your team.
Yes, and our team is so good at that. David, it was fun going around to those centers with you and some of our board members. The first place we visited was a center that we have in St. Andrew Lutheran Church up in Port St. Lucie, and I believe you joined us in playing some charades there. But it's such an interesting challenge because you have all range of reactions to the disease, right? We have some people that are non-communicative, at least verbally, but the staff is so good at knowing how to connect with them and how to figure out what their communication language is. And so there's a woman there that loves to play with the baby. And when she has the baby and she's holding this baby that we have at all of our centers, then she communicates through the baby to the staff. And then you have, of course, another gentleman there that was quite a character that was trying to participate in all the charades, whether it was his team or not, and just so animated and excited, but just couldn't find the word. Sometimes I think one time we were acting out an elephant, and he knew it. He knew the answer, but he couldn't get the word out. And I think that's one of the challenges of a caregiver, someone at home with a loved one that is battling this. If they don't know and don't have the resources and the tools to help communicate, it can be just as frustrating for the caregiver as it is for the patient who's trying to desperately communicate or remember.
Yeah, incredibly well put. Thank you, David. Are there any new initiatives or things on the horizon that you see ACC becoming involved with that you could begin to share with our audience?
Well, in terms of new things, this is something that, of course, the Alzheimer's Association has been working to try to find a cure for years and years. And unfortunately, we're really not much closer to a cure. And so what we do is we provide that care that's that missing element to come alongside and partner. So one of the things we're trying to do is to broaden our reach and to do that by reaching out to other communities. Right now we're in 3 counties. So we are in Palm Beach, Martin, and St. Lucie County. And so we're looking at other areas of the state where we could come in and partner with organizations there. I was on the phone about half an hour ago with a pastor in the Tampa area who desperately wants to do this and partner with us, and so we're discussing with them what that might look like to partner with them and be in that area, because that's another large county with another aging population. And so how do we bring this thing that we've been doing for 28 years and reach more areas in the state community as well?
Yeah. And I know you've been working hard on that. And you mentioned the Alzheimer's Association, which they raised money to do research. And you are kind of feet on the ground, providing services today and tomorrow for those afflicted with Alzheimer's. And at the same time, I know that you want to develop a number of partnerships in the Florida community, and I guess nationally as well. Um,
Hmm.
how can people who might be watching this, who are affiliated with businesses or who are themselves business leaders and civic leaders and political leaders throughout Florida and frankly around the country, how can they potentially become involved with you and learn more about ACC?
Well, certainly they can reach out to me directly. I'm love to have people reach out and to talk to them and connect with them. And my email is very easy, dfranklin at alzcare, alzcare.org. Happy to give that out. Also, our website is alzcare.org. So you can reach out to us in that way and learn. We have tons of resources on our website, including for those that need CEUs, continuing education units. We have those available on our website, a lot of them. And so, but I would say one of the things I'm trying to figure out is how we can reach out. We have all of these country club communities, certainly in South Florida, and I know all up the East Coast they exist, and many of them do have aging populations as well. And so, is there a way we could partner with those kind of communities and either come in and provide services there in some of those communities or provide education and resources? Um, I think that's a kind of outside the box type of a plan that we might be able to develop moving forward. I'd be really interested in. Also, just for community leaders and businesses, we love your partnership. We need, we need more funds to do more of what we're doing. Our day centers do not turn a profit, unfortunately. You know, they provide this excellent service and this amazing kind of ministry to the community, if you will. But they're not they're no one's going to try to hire me to take over for Elon Musk, I don't think. We're not turning that kind of a profit here. So we we need to develop more of those strategic partnerships and relationships with business and community leaders as well.
And again, we'll put up on the screen your contact information because yes, you are a not for profit and you are providing services at a cost greater than the income that you get. So hopefully, some folks who might be watching this will feel good about potentially supporting you. I know also, David, there's one big program neither of us have yet discussed, and you're a big education organization, and I know every year you have a major education conference where you actually give out, you're authorized to give continuing education credits to nurses and social workers and caregivers, not just throughout the state of Florida even, but all over the country. Just tell us briefly about this program.
Yeah, our education conference is wonderful. It's the biggest event that we do. We do it every year in May. I actually came to the education conference last year before I was in this role, and it was just so wonderful. There was so much just related to even the relatives in my own life, and anyone who's a caregiver who's walking through this, I would highly encourage you to tune in online or even come to our conference. I mean, who doesn't love traveling to West Palm Beach here and enjoy the beach and a quick 1 day conference and it would be a great time. But we have some of the best neurologists, speakers involved in this ongoing work that come to do our conference for us every year, and so just real excited about that. And you can partner with us in that as well. If you're a business leader and you'd like to sponsor, we offer all different kinds of packages where we offer one where you can get in front of all the crowds at our different breakout sessions and introduce the speaker. We offer a main session sponsorship where you can introduce the main session speaker, and we also offer space in our program. And our conference sells out every year, so it's a great service to the community.
Yeah, and I found it fascinating as I learned how the organization was founded, that you were really founded, correct me if I'm wrong, as a means by which to give a respite to the caregivers of Alzheimer's patients. So the folks, if anyone who's out there, and my mother, sadly in her later years, had Alzheimer's for a few years, and again, almost everybody watching this probably has had some personal experience. And if you are a caregiver, the stress and the pressure of caregiving, well, it's hard to compare it to what the Alzheimer's patient themselves is going through, but nevertheless, it's very stressful, and that's where you guys basically step in.
Absolutely. And that's why we were founded, to provide that respite for the caregiver. There's a recent study that shows that if you're particularly caring for a spouse that is walking with Alzheimer's or related dementia, 75% of the time, the caregiver actually passes first.
Hmm.
And that's because of that stress that you referred to that exists. And that's another piece of our education is we work with primary care physicians, and we're trying to get primary care physicians to ask, are you a caregiver? Because if you are a caregiver, there's this added burden. And we also have these people that are in a sandwich generation, as people are having children at an older age than they did back when we were young. They're raising their children and their parents simultaneously,
Yeah.
as they're caring for an aging parent with Alzheimer's or related dementia, and they're caring for a child at the same time. I mean, I can't imagine the challenges that can present to folks, and we're trying to walk through life and alongside life with folks, and giving them the respite they need and the education and the resources they need.
Well, again, kudos to you and your many staff members, your colleagues, and everyone who's involved with the important care of those afflicted with Alzheimer's. I've seen firsthand what an outstanding job you do.
Well, thank you, David.
David, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us again. If you've been watching this and you're interested in potentially supporting Alzheimer's community care, their contact information is on the screen. Please indeed reach out to them. You won't regret it. This is David Nevins for City Biz. Thank you so much for your time today.